back, and also a warm welcome to our ETV viewers. Now, one of Madiba's closest friends was United Democratic Movement leader Bantu Holomisa. The two first met in 1990 when Holomisa was a military leader of the Transkei, and their friendship continued even after Holomisa was expelled from the ANC. Well, he joins me now to talk about their special relationship, to reflect also on the past year. General Holomisa, a very good morning to you. Thank you for your time this morning. How are you feeling today?
No, I'm okay, and I remember this day, of course, when I received a call around 4 o'clock in the afternoon asking my whereabouts, and then I told the family that I was in Pretoria. They said I should come down there and see Tata. He's not looking good. So I drove down. And when I arrived in in Houghton, I could see the faces of the grandchildren, the children, the close families, that they are not the same. And then I was whisked up to his bedroom, where I greeted Mama Krasha, Mama Winnie, the doctor, and Madiba. Could say that Madiba is not the same as I've seen him a few days ago. Then, otherwise, one thing which at least comforted us is that Madiba warned us, warned the South Africans, warned the world that he was about to depart. And we should also congratulate or rather thank Mbeki for being a visionary, because eight years ago from that date, when Madiba was not well, he suggested that there should be a committee between the family and the government to prepare for Madiba's last day, because Madiba is not an ordinary person. You can't take 10 days or 5 days to prepare for his funeral. And indeed, it was a privilege on my part that the family included me in those preparations up to his last day.
General Holomisa, just looking at what's happened over the past year, and you know, we had a story earlier on here in the morning about the rift in the family. We've seen Winnie Mandela and the issue around the will as well. Just, are you disappointed at just sort of these happenings within the Mandela family in the past year, and the fact that they have probably not been brought closer by his death, but we are seeing more of the cracks now?
Well, I don't normally talk about the misunderstandings of the family members of Mandela in the public. I hope you will forgive me for that. Leave that to the family.
All right, and your past year of reflection on your friendship with one of the men who was most loved around the world, just reflecting on your Remember Mandela moment or moments, especially over the past year.
Well, it will start from 1990, of course, when he asked me to accompany him to attend the Namibian independence celebrations. Whilst we were there, as you know, the whole world had converged or had descended to Namibia to celebrate their independence. So after the formal functions had finished, Madiba, we went to see the leadership of the ANC, which was still in exile. I remember meeting Joe Slovo, Modise, Baunkobi, and others. Out of that meeting, there were queues and queues of cars waiting to see him. This is where I began to see his influence. I laughed to myself when I saw the foreign minister then of Russia and the US State Secretary James Baker. They were in their cars for almost 2 hours waiting to see Madiba and many other leaders, because Madiba said we must start seeing first the leaders of the countries, then we will see the ministers later. So James Baker and the Foreign Affairs of Minister of Russia were part of the ministers, so they had to wait. Then I also noticed his influence, that his influence was not for himself, but he used his influence to benefit many. Who would have thought that today we have Oprah in South Africa running a school to help many kids of South Africans? Indeed, who would forget the role he played in Congo as well as Burundi?
General
Remember
Holomisa,
in Burundi,
if I can ask you, all South Africans being asked later on to observe that 3 minutes of silence, what do you think Madiba would want them to reflect on? What do you think he would want? And we know that he wouldn't want everybody to sort of only focus on him. He would want them to think about how their lives can change or have changed. What do you think is the one thing he would hope that they would decide about in those 3 minutes of silence today?
Well, Madiba would think about the next person. He would wish that we do care as to whether the roads are fixed, whether ESCOM has got solution to bring electricity, whether the food is there for the people on the table to eat, and above all, whether we are winning the battle against HIV/AIDS, as well as to send kids to school.
So if you're wondering what you should reflect on, just some thoughts here. Thank you very much, UDM leader, and one of Madiba's closest friends, Bantu Holomisa, reflecting for us on his times with Madiba. We continue with our coverage a year after the death of Nelson Mandela after the break.